Hi everyone, I'm Deb and this is Emily and we're co-founders of Okapi Reusables. We're a reusable cup network. So our mission is to make reuse the norm by making it easy to get coffee to go in real cups without the plastic, without the guilt. Here's the problem that we're taking on. So 50 billion coffee cups go to trash every single year in the US. So the Space Needle is about 600 feet high. When you stack those behind it, that stack is nearly 4 times the Space Needle. And virtually none get recycled. So we talk about coffee cups and we call them paper cups, but it's actually paperboard with a polyethylene lining, a moisture barrier, so they're pretty tough to recycle. And studies actually show that with hot liquid in these coffee cups, microplastics migrate over the course of 15 minutes. I'm almost done with the bummer part of the show. When you add in cold cups, it's 120 billion in total that go to trash every year. And this is a growing category, so 3/4 of Starbucks volume is in cold drinks. That was an interesting fact for me to learn. And just as a reminder, so we enjoy these cups for about 15 minutes, but they've come over on container ships, typically from overseas. We use them for 15 minutes, we toss them, they get collected, they get trucked to landfill. So it's energy intensive on the front end and the back end. So on to the positive. So our solution is a reusable clean cup at your favorite cafe to borrow and return. So you see the cups, they're double wall stainless steel cups. They're insulated so your coffee actually stays hot longer versus a disposable cup. So it's a really pleasant drinking experience. And we've also got glass cups for cold drinks. So for when the beauty of the drink matters, juices, smoothies, bubble tea. And we purposely chose not to use plastic for both health and environmental reasons. On the cafe side, we try to make it as easy as possible to get started. So we bring the cups to cafes at no upfront cost. We provide signs. There's a mobile app for customers to use. And then people borrow and return the cups. We'll show you that in a second. And then cafes wash and sanitize in-house. So this helps us keep a lean operation. We don't have off-site dishwashing, so we don't have that cost of that infrastructure. Cafes do pay us. It's a sort of a pay-as-you-go, so it's roughly equivalent to the cost of disposables. And we basically track the borrows and then we invoice them quarterly. Before we show you the flow on the customer side, what a customer does is they download our app. They pay a one-time $10 membership fee, so it's not a subscription, it's just a one-time fee, and then they can borrow and return as much as they like. So let's take a look at a borrow. So this is Fetch Coffee Roasters in Southeast Portland. And the interface is super simple. There's a borrow and a return. You hit borrow, you scan a code at the counter. The logo of that cafe pops up. You show it to the barista and you say, I want my drink in an Okapi cup. You take it away, come back within 2 weeks, please, hit return. And it's the same thing on the other end. You're scanning a code, and that tells us that the cup has come back. And you drop the cup in the return bin, and then again, cafes wash and sanitize. So it's pretty simple. So a little bit on traction. We started just over a year ago. We actually tested for 30 days in 2 cafes. We wanted to see if the app worked. We wanted to try the cups. And we did have a couple bumps. The borrow was not as smooth as we wanted, so we made some changes. Then we launched in 4 cafes in January, so just over a year ago. And in a couple weeks, we'll be in 44 cafes in Portland, the Bay Area, and we just crossed over into Washington State with a cafe in Vancouver that's going really well. They're using it even with drive-through. And we did this through the really important support of 4 grants. We couldn't have done it without the grants. I just want to pause for a second and say, over the course of this year, I mentioned the 30-day pilot because we keep kind of viewing this as a learning opportunity. And I think what we've learned is that this is a model that works. So cafes and customers are willing to pay. We've learned that as we get more density in a city, cafes are joining at a faster pace. So you see the number 44, and that was about 35 like a month ago. So things kind of go faster as you go along. And then last, the cafe that was on the previous slide is Clinton Street Coffee House. They were the first to say yes to us, which was so big. And so they've been doing it for just over a year, and they have shifted 1 in 3 single-use cups for coffee to go to either bring your own cups or Okapi cups. And they do that by baristas offering the choice every time somebody wants coffee to go, and they actually also nudge ceramics for dine-ins, so they are on top of this. So seeing that 1 in 3 cups go to real cups has been really inspiring for us. And just full disclosure, that's not happening at all of our cafes, but we try to stay close to cafe owners and staff, and we keep learning as we go.
We have an approach that makes it easy for customers and cafes. And our vision now is to expand the network to 300 cafes within the next 3 years, adding more locations in Portland, the San Francisco Bay Area, and we'd love to expand further into Washington. So we now have that 1 in 3 cups as our benchmark, and we want to be part of this conversation to promote both bring your own as well as cup borrowing. So our model includes 3 major funding sources. So the first is revenue from our cafe and customer fees. So we've priced things affordably for both cafes and customers to reduce the barrier to adoption. Our cafe fee is a one-time $10 membership fee to join. They can then borrow and return an unlimited number of times. For cafes, the revenue is, the fee is priced equivalent to disposables. So it's usage-based, just based on the number of cups borrowed from their cafe. We did feel like it was important to have, while the fees to be low, for it to be non-zero. And we see that paying off over time. So, in the next 3 to 5 years, then we see a more significant portion of our costs being covered by those customer and cafe fees. But it's going to take time for that user adoption to grow. So, which is what brings me to our 2 other sources of funding that we would like to develop, so, and the areas of our asks. So one is municipal grants and public-private partnerships. So we have had the benefit of grants in the Oregon metro area and the San Francisco Bay Area, and we'd like to build on corporate sponsorships as well.